Hello, everybody. It is me, Jurassic Alt, here to say that today we are going to be talking about Book 5, Bobbiedots' conclusion. I am very excited to talk about this story. So, yeah, let's get started. Hi, sorry to interrupt your video. I have hidden this photo somewhere in the video. If you can find the photo and let me know down in the comments, I will put your comment in the next video. So the story starts off with kind of recap on what happened part 1. If you don't know what happened in part 1, go check out my part 1 video of this and then come back here. So the story starts off with Abe feeling paranoid about the Gen 1s being around. The Gen 2s make it that Abe's room will automatically lock at night so that he's safe. So Abe checks the records to see if there's any evidence of the Gen 1s, but he can't find anything. But he also remembers that old animatronics are sent down into the sewers below. And so he goes into the sewers and goes through the different levels and sees mangled up Chica and sees old destroyed animatronic Endos and stumbles upon an old destroyed Mr. Hippo and finds a Mr. Hippo magnet and knows that he can use it to disable the door because they were discontinued because they were super strong back. Then Abe goes back and it's 2 a.m. So he sneaks out of his living room using the magnet to see that the Gen 1s are out, and Abe makes a noise and one of the Gen 1s jumps out and attacks him, but he escapes into his room. Goes to the next night, he sneaks out again to see another Gen 1 that attacks him and gets a hold of him and cuts up his knee and sparks go everywhere. And then the Gen 2 Bobbiedots play some really loud music to scare the Gen 1s back into the trapdoor. Then it's the next day, and Abe kind of bandages himself up so he doesn't show his scars. And then Abe goes to Montgomery's golf course to fix a Monty hole, and Abe goes on break and goes to Rockstar Road to clear his head from everything and meets someone named Sasha, a social worker who helps out troubled kids. They go out to dinner, and Abe tells her about the Gen 2 Bobbiedots and that he lives with them in the Faz Tower. And then for their second date, Sasha goes to Abe's house for dinner. But before Sasha gets there, Abe kind of does everything to make sure that the apartment is safe for her. Then Sasha goes to Abe's apartment and meets the Gen 2 Bobbiedots. Then for the third date, they go to Bonnie's Bowl, and Abe tells Sasha about everything that's happened with the Gen 1s attacking him and all of that. And Sasha believes that the Gen 1s aren't really the ones lashing out in anger, but are lashing out because they are scared. They might have been hurt in the past. So she suggests that she stays the night to see how the Gen 1s are for herself, and she suggests that she checks out the previous person who was living there. So Abe goes into the files and tries to find more about Landon, but when Abe goes into the files to learn more about Landon, it sounds like Landon was very paranoid constantly when he was living in the Faz Tower, and he randomly left. Abe calls a number that could be connected to Landon, and a woman picks up and says that Landon is gone and hangs up. Abe and Sasha go to the apartment, and she sees the Gen 1s for herself, but Sasha makes a sound that alerts the Gen 1s, and all 3 of the Gen 1s go after Abe, not Sasha. Abe was able to escape and says, "See my point?" But Sasha says that they were actually trying to protect him instead of hurt him. Then Abe asks that who's the one who's been trying to kill me this whole time, and Sasha points to one of the monitors, suggesting that the Gen 2 Bobbiedots are the ones trying to kill Abe. The power goes out, and the Bobbiedots appear on the screens, glitching out, trying to attack Abe and Sasha. Abe and Sasha try to get away from the Gen 2 Bobbiedots and go into the trapdoor and see that the Gen 1 Bobbiedots are hiding up in the trapdoor as well. Sasha and Abe talk to the Gen 1s and they explain that they accidentally killed Landon. Then Abe and Sasha ask if there is a way to deactivate the Gen 2s, and the Gen 1s say yes, there is a way, but you need to do a software update. Then a pipe bursts and they all fall through the ceiling, and the floor is electrified because of the water that came out of the pipe, and basically have to play floor is lava to get to the pipe to do the update. Sasha and Abe are able to do the update, and the Gen 2 Bobbiedots go out, and the Gen 1s fry the whole building, including the Bobbiedots. Then it flashes forward to Abe and Sasha living together in the Faz Tower. So let's talk about some side note stuff. They mentioned that there are 3 different levels in the sewers, and level 1 was kind of not so bad. Level 2 was utilities, which was a little darker and kind of musky and dirty. And then level 3 was the actual sewer part, which I find interesting, very similar to the game. Something that I find very interesting is that it's like Fazbear Entertainment threw away a lot of endos in the books. And in the game, in the sewers, there's a lot of staff bots, which seem very interesting to me because I feel like Fazbear Entertainment is all about cutting corners and saving money. And it just seems like such a waste to throw out all these animatronics like they're just nothing. And it just seems weird, so I'm kind of wondering if that these ones that have been thrown out are infected by glitch trap. So maybe that's why there are so many that have been thrown out, is that they've just been infected and it's just easier to just dispose of it. It mentions that it smells like dead bodies down in the sewers. Now, this could be where Vanny is disposing of the bodies and kind of like, well, it already smells like crack down here. Why not just dispose of the bodies down here? No one ever really goes down here. And maybe that's where Puppet's kind of taking care of the disposed bodies that are the missing kids, which I do want to talk about in a minute. They've mentioned a destroyed Glamrock Chica. Now, they didn't specifically say if she was yellow or white, but they mentioned a Glamrock Chica, a destroyed one, which seems very interesting. So that could mean this is the time that Chica went into the trash compactor in the game, because it mentions that in this kind of little log. So maybe that's that, quite possibly. They mentioned Mr. Hippo, and how they describe Mr. Hippo looked like the one that we see in FNAF 6. Doesn't really look like the one that we see in the security breach ending of like the Glamrock Mr. Hippo. So yeah, all of the Gen 1 animatronics look like the shattered versions of the Glamrock animatronics, which I find very interesting. 3 looked like a shattered version of Rose, and 3 was the Roxanne Wolf. 1 was Gemini, which was the Chica looking one and had no eyes. And 2, which was Olive, looked like Monty of just the upper half with no legs. So that's going to come up in my main theory, because I want to talk about them looking like the shattered animatronic version. Something that I do want to mention is that Sasha mentions that the kids that she takes care of aren't really bad. They've just had a really bad childhood. And I've been seeing a lot that's saying like Elizabeth is a villain, but like if you really think about it, she's not a villain. She got her childhood taken away from, and I would be mad if I got my childhood taken away from me if I was at the age of, like, she seems like she's 10, so like I would be annoyed. They mentioned hole 15 being a cake hole that Abe had to fix. Now, in the game, hole 15, there isn't really nothing there, but at the arcade, hole 5 is a cake level, which I find very interesting. So maybe this is a connection to the Happiest Day, quite possibly, or I see a lot of like Chica kind of theme stuff, maybe, I don't know. Also, when Abe goes to fix hole 15 for Monty's Gall, a little girl with curly hair and green eyes goes up to Abe. Now, they don't say what color her hair is, so yeah. The reason why Sasha went to the Mega Pizza Plex was that one of her coworkers suggested that they bring the troubled kids to Mega Pizza Plex, but she felt a little sus about it, even though she was a fan of the whole pizzeria and all the Pizza Plex. She was a little sus about it and wanted to see for herself. Now, maybe these kids are the ones who maybe these kids are the missing kids that we see at the end of this ending, because it just seems interesting that we see missing kids, and this story mentions that they're wanting to bring kids here. So, and it would make it a lot easier to kind of, air quotes, take control of them, because agony is really it's most strongest when it's strong emotions of fear, anger, and sadness. These troubled kids would definitely have all 3 of them. So maybe the coworker is someone in the Afton cult who is trying to lure them. Quite possibly, I don't know. Abe and Sasha have their second dinner. Sasha does mention both parents are dead. Now, it doesn't elaborate what happened to them, but it just says that they're dead. So might see them, like a younger version of them in a next story. So yeah. When Abe and Sasha go up into the trapdoor, the Gen 1s explain that they killed Landon, but the reason why they killed Landon was because he was trying to burn down the Faz Tower, and the Gen 1's programming was to protect the Faz Tower. And it seems strange that Red would want to burn down Faz's tower. It just seems weird. I feel like there was like a Michael connection. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's this ending, the VIP ending, where Glamrock Freddy burns down the whole Mega Pizzaplex. So maybe that's a connection there? I don't know. When the Gen 1s are talking to Abe and Sasha, they explain why the Gen 2s are evil. And the reason why is that they're an experimental AI, which to make their personality seem more realistic. And they think that humans have ruined the Earth and all of that, but they love humans because they're very interested and curious about them, but at the same time want to kill them. Which I find very interesting is that the Gen 2s are experimental AI, and we've only seen AI kind of things with glitch traps. So, and we might see some AI stuff with the Mimic and Tiger Rock, possibly. So now let's talk about the meat of the theory. Oh my goodness. I was so happy because at the end, they gave the Gen 1's names. And oh my goodness, I was so freaking hyped because guess what their names were? 3 was named Victoria, 2 was named Isabel, and 1 was named Elizabeth. Holy cow. Like, my last theory video, I theorized that was part of security. I think the Gen 2 and the Gen 1s are supposed to be Elizabeth. Now, hear me out. The Bobbiedots were supposed to represent Baby, and that Baby, this was kind of like just the soul of Baby. Now, the Bobbiedots are AI, so I think this is a glitch trap kind of style of Baby. Now, earlier in the story, I mentioned that she, and that Gen 1 was a she. Now, Gen 1 could be like a hive mind, kind of exactly like how Afton is, of glitch trap. Now, I think that Elizabeth's soul is in the Mega Pizzaplex and is supposed to be like a glitch trap part 2, because it seems like Elizabeth definitely plays a role in the Mega Pizzaplex. Does that mean we're gonna get a glitch Elizabeth kind of trap or Elizabeth cult? Probably not, but I think that Elizabeth's soul is kind of put into all 3 of, or split up into each individual Glamrock / Bobbiedots. I think her soul was split up, which is crazy, which, like, my theory was right on that. If everything I've been saying, and this, what it looks like it's been hinting at, seems right, which is so freaking cool. I do also want to mention, at the end, they mentioned that the Gen 1 animatronics were gonna get repaired, and they were sent to Abe's mom, which they talked about throughout the story of just him texting her. And honestly, I thought she was dead, but she wasn't. She was alive. So I want to mention a DLC theory that I've been talking about, is that in this DLC, we're going to be pairing the Glamrock animatronics. I think this story further proves that, because the Gen 1s were seen as, air quotes, evil, and the new modern versions of the Bobbiedots were evil, and the Gen 1 Bobbiedots were actually good. I think that's what might happen with this new DLC, is that we're gonna maybe get AI, air quotes, versions of the new Glamrock animatronics that are gonna be evil, and we're going to have to repair the older Glamrock animatronics. I don't know about that, but I feel very confident that we're probably gonna have to repair the old Glamrock animatronics. But yeah, hello, Editing Jurassic here. So I didn't mention that the Bobbiedots looked very similar to Lally's game. Now, the Gen 2 Bobbiedots were good based off of Lally. They look very similar to me. So that might be something there of, when I first read Lally's game, I thought Lally was supposed to represent Crying Child, and Elizabeth, it seems like she's supposed to represent the Bobbiedots. So that might be a connection there. Okay, so here we go. Timeline part. I'm going to put this one after the previous 2 stories, because this story seems like most accurate with the games. Part 1 was super accurate to the games, and I'm going to put this story right after everything. I'm going to do a timeline video around book 6, so hopefully we'll get that sometime soon. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but I've been doing more editing kind of effects, and I've used this kind of mic enhancer thing. I don't know if it actually, I mean, I think it works. Sometimes the words kind of merge together and it doesn't work out, or it just cuts out, which kind of sucks, but overall, I've been pretty happy with this kind of new mic kind of thing. My mic sounds a lot better, and I feel like before it, my mic was just kind of all over the place. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you found the random little photo that I have, I don't know what I'm gonna do for it yet, but if you found the photo, congratulations. Put it down in the comments. If you're the first one to comment it, I'll put you in the next theory video or next video that has my voice. But thank you guys so much for watching. It means so much to me you took the time out of your day to watch this video. And remember, keyboards and carrots.
Wow.